Greetings, and welcome to another episode. I'm John Tarus, and as always, I hope wherever you are watching this, that you are keeping yourself busy, trying to create the best version of yourself possible. This week, I'd like to talk about grief. It's one of the most difficult emotions that humans have to face. It is inevitable that at some point in our lives, we will lose a loved one. When it is someone that we truly love and care about, it can be devastating for those of us that are left behind. And depending on the circumstances of someone's death, it can amplify the anguish that one feels. When someone dies unexpectedly in an accident, or through the hand of someone else, or by someone choosing to end their own lives, this can add another layer of unspeakable heartbreak. For anyone watching this video that is currently experiencing grief, my heart truly goes out to you, and I extend to you my deepest sympathies. I pray that you eventually heal from your heart's sorrow and find the joy, love, and inner peace in your life again. In this video, I'm going to share my personal beliefs on this topic, more so from a spiritual perspective rather than a psychological one. Some of these beliefs I have formed from reading books on this subject by Dolores Cannon. The book Between Death and Life by Dolores Cannon in particular is an interesting read, and I highly recommend you take a look at it. I will provide a link to this book on Amazon if you wish to obtain a copy. I should point out, I don't have any affiliation, financial or otherwise, with the book or Dolores Cannon. I just enjoyed the book, and I'm offering a link to it in case you want to read the book for yourself. For those of you that don't know, Dolores Cannon began her working career as a hypnotist, using hypnosis to help people stop smoking, lose weight, etc. It was through these hypnosis sessions with different clients that she discovered that she was able to tap into someone's subconscious, also known as the higher self. In doing so, she discovered the ability to do incredible things like past life regressions, where her clients were able to go back and look at previous lives that they had lived in different time periods. During these past life regressions, Dolores was able to discover what happens at the point of death and where we go after we die. And it is through this lens that I speak about the topic of grief. I understand that people of different faiths will have various views on this subject. Maybe what I have to say will align with your beliefs, or maybe it will be totally different. My hope is that my perspective will allow you to think about death in a new way that will make it less painful, and maybe give you a different perspective on this subject. Having said that, there's a couple of reasons why I think we, as humans, find the death experience so heart-wrenching. Firstly, at a human level, we perceive death as being final. When we die, we think that it is the end of the road of someone's life. However, nothing could be further from the truth. Yes, the human body has ceased living, but the soul has not. The soul that was tethered to the body separates and continues on living in another dimension. In fact, our souls are eternal, so when we die, we simply transition from one life into another. Secondly, we see death as a form of separation. When someone dies, we think that we are never going to see them again, that their death is the end of the relationship that we have with them. This is a fallacy, for when we eventually die, we will be reunited with them and all of our loved ones that have crossed before us. Depending on who you ask, people will tell you that the soul will go to heaven or the afterlife. In some religions, they believe that if you have been bad, you will go to hell. However, let me be clear, I don't personally believe in hell. I believe that it is a human construct that was created to keep the masses under control. The only hell that exists is on earth. If we choose to live in fear and be controlled by our hatred, that is our hell. It is a hell of our own making. I know this goes against the grain of Christian religions and one of the more controversial ideas in this video, but to me this makes perfect sense. I'll leave this for you to decide if you agree or not. As mentioned earlier, during our transition into the afterlife, which is what I like to call it, we are met by our loved ones who have already crossed over, as well as our spirit guides and guardian angels, and maybe even some of the archangels. So the soul is never alone during the death experience, even though sometimes the human form may be alone at the time of death. This is often a concern that many people have when someone dies. They feel guilt because they weren't able to be there during a loved one's passing, that they were all alone. According to Dolores Cannon, that is not true. There is always someone on the other side to greet the deceased. So we mustn't feel guilty if we can't be there for someone's transition. This is such an important point. During this time of the pandemic, where many people have reportedly died alone in hospital without their families by their side, we mustn't feel sad or guilty about this. Your deceased loved ones were not alone. What happens after someone's passing is just as fascinating as someone's life here on Earth, but I will leave that for a future video. Another thing that I would like to point out is that people will also feel grief after the loss of an animal or pet. Having lost a pet almost 2 years ago myself, I can tell you that the emotion of loss is just as real and painful as losing a human loved one. This is an important acknowledgement, as many people that have never had pets or animals that they have truly loved and cared for may not understand how devastating such a loss can be. I can assure you, it is. In closing, I know that grief can be challenging, and that on a human level, it can be overwhelmingly sad for those of us left behind. But the take-home message for us still living on Earth is that the soul of the departed are still intact. The soul never dies. It goes on to live in another form, and although they have ceased living on Earth, we will see them again. We will eventually be reunited with them. In the meantime, we should honor their memories and cherish the time that we had with them. Take full advantage of the life you have now and make the most of it. Your deceased loved ones would never want you to be sad and live your life in the absence of joy and wonder. You have your own journey on this earth to experience, So please go out there and live it. But if you are struggling with your grief, then I encourage you to speak to someone, whether that's friends or family, or a professional counsellor, therapist, or psychologist. There are many wonderful professionals out there who specialise in grief counselling that can help you navigate these difficult periods in your life. You just need to go out and find them. I hope you enjoyed this video. Please feel free to like, comment, and subscribe to this channel for more content if you haven't already done so. Take care, everyone, and remember to always strive to create the best version of yourself possible, one step at a time.